So on October the 10th, I did a cupping for the volunteer barista staff at Everyday Joe's here in Fort Collins, Colorado, of the Manzano project. So I staged a little reenactment of how it all happened. Hello everybody, my name is Chris from Coffee Shrub, and today we're going to do a cupping of the Manzano processing experiment. This is a processing experiment done on Finca El Manzano in El Salvador by Emilio Lopez Diaz of Finca El Manzano and Cuatro M Coffees, where they're doing really forward-thinking things with coffee processing, and we thought it'd be a really great idea to share some of this with you. If you see right here, we have some representations of different coffee processes in parchment. We have a full wet process where all the fruit mucilage is removed from the parchment. It's fermented in tanks and washed in channels and put out to patios to dry. This is the pulp natural process where they remove the skin of the fruit and then dry it with the mucilage left on the parchment. And this is a full natural where you have, this is a full natural processed bean where they dry fruit, skin and all on the parchment. So there's two seeds in this coffee fruit right here. I skipped ahead of myself. I can just cut it out. So, one of the things that makes this project really unique is that everything about these coffees is pretty much the same except for the processing. These coffees were all grown on the same small lot on Finca El Manzano, the Palmero lot it's called. It's all the same altitude, all the same varietal, 100% Bourbon, and it was all harvested on the same day, on December 29th, 2009. And so what you see in the cup here is strictly what processing lends to the experience of the coffee, lends to the cup. And so what I want you guys to think about as you're cupping these coffees is, you know, how are they different? What does processing do to the coffee through each stage? But also, I think it's even more telling to think about how these coffees are still the same and what's similar about all these coffees. So with that, I invite you to come on up and taste the coffees. With that, I invite you all to, so come on, so we can all start cupping now. I want everybody to make sure that they remember to come back and cup the coffees as they cool, since the coffees will change dramatically as that happens. And for a while, let's kind of keep our thoughts to ourselves and just cup the coffees, and then we'll kind of start some discussion. That way we can all kind of form our own thoughts on the coffees before we start talking about them. Okay, let's taste these coffees. There's a lot of texture in the pulp natural. I think there's a lot of cinnamon spice in the washed coffee. Well, hold on a minute, guys. Let's let these coffees cool a little bit more. There. These are nice and cool now. Here, everybody, I think you'll see that these coffees have changed quite a bit. Let's cup them one more time and then we'll discuss. Oh yeah, that's really opening up. Wow. I can't believe how sweet and clean that natural is. So what does everybody think? Everybody see some major differences in these coffees? Felt like the natural was definitely the sweetest. There's a lot of body and a lot going on in the pulp natural coffee. The washed was so clean and bright. Yeah, I think that one of the major interesting things about these coffees is the way that the body really transforms through the processing, and how both extremes, both the washed and the full dry, definitely have much more clarity and flavor, whereas the pulp natural really adds a lot of sweetness and body and complexity to the cup. But when you move to the full natural, it really kind of opens up and becomes even sweeter. And while there's a lot of great texture to the body, it's definitely more of a clean, syrupy texture, whereas this is more, you taste almost more of the skin of the fruit, which is interesting since that's what was removed. Ha 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 ha. So what I think is the same, really, about these coffees. What do you guys think is really similar about these coffees? The natural was definitely very sparkling, full body and tangy, and the wash definitely settled down. And once it settled down, it really decided what it was, really clean and clear and bright. Yeah, I think what's really interesting in these coffees is the way that the brightness and the acidity kind of transforms, but still remains kind of similar. You have a nice, ripe, crisp apple brightness in the fully washed, and then you get kind of a dried fruit, dried raisiny kind of note in the pulp natural, and in the full natural it becomes a succulent plum, a lot of rich, tangy flavors in there. But whereas those are kind of different fruit flavors or different brightnesses, there's still a similar thread throughout each of these brightnesses, and you can kind of see the transformation of the bright, crisp acidity here into what it becomes. I think that's really interesting. Wow, thanks, Chris. Thanks for helping me expand my coffee vocabulary. And tasting the processes side by side without other variables in play really helped give me context to what these tastes and flavors mean. That SDA flavor wheel sure was confusing though. Oh yeah, no, that can be kind of confusing sometimes. Use the flavor wheel as a template to kind of go back and reference and see where the things that you're tasting and experiencing line up. Don't let it bog you down. Don't let it cloud your vision or your taste buds. Thank you for cupping with me.